Say ah. Look, this is where that branch was coming out, and I had cut it off and then drilled a hole in it. Well, I went in there and opened that up pretty good. Use a wood chisel. Now, what I did recently is I took my hole saw here and I drilled some of these branches down this way. So I just ran the drill over them and it became a peg. And then I drilled a hole into the bottom of this. And right now I've got 3 legs underneath this guy. So let me show you kind of what I got going on. And they look weird and funky. And you might wonder, why does that one have such a long leg? Okay, well, the reason is because this thing is still very positively buoyant. And the fulcrum where this thing wants to kind of teeter-totter in is buoyancy is right around here. So what I need to do is pull it down. I thought about gluing rocks on it and epoxying rocks to it and things like that. And I need to be able to clean around this. So I want to be able to go in with my Python and clean around. So what I did is I kind of made it into a tripod. And you can see how this one has a really long leg. Why, Deb? Well, because this ends right about that center. Okay, you see how that comes down? And what I can do is I can put a big rock on here, and that's going to hold the whole thing down. Well, how am I going to attach that? Well, I tell you, use a little epoxy in there, in those cavities, and those holes will tighten up really nicely, and those guys will become permanent pretty much. So I think that's kind of neat. Now this one here, look at it. It's got kind of a little hook on it because this branch comes down and it's got a hook. So I can lay a rock on this and it's going to hold it down. I can put a rock on this one, it's going to hold it down. And then this one, I had 3 legs here. And what I decided to do was to put them widthwise so that it doesn't want to teeter-totter this way. And it's actually rather stable right now. I mean, it moves around a bit, but once I epoxy it, it's going to be firm. Now, it's going to be a trick to get it in and out of the tank, but I tell you what, this leg for sure is going to have weight on it, and this one will too. But I can put just a big rock on those big chunks of granite. I've got other sizes available. And so it's got 3 legs. It holds it exactly where I want it in the water column. And it's going to give me basically a hook here to be able to anchor it. And I can put weight on top of these and hold it down. So that's how I'm handling this. It'll be pretty much invisible once you get some gravel around those and rocks. It's thin enough to clean around. It's thin enough that the fish can still swim underneath it, which I really wanted to do. And I got it pretty well arranged so that my lighting should come right down through the middle of that, which will be kind of nice. So it's going to look pretty cool in the tank, and I like how this one turned out. I mean, it's just pretty nifty overall. Happy with that. It looks better than that knob that was on there. So I know it looks weird right now, sticking out of the water, but I think it's really going to look cool. There's the little fairy city. I think I have to do that. There's got to be some little characters that I could put in there, a little fairy city. That'll be hilarious. I love the detail in this. It's going to look so good. So I have my resin. I mistakenly didn't order any hardener, so I've got to wait for some hardener to show up. But yeah, I'm really happy with how this has turned out. It's going to give a lot of visibility here. And with these being small, I can clean around them which will be really nice. We'll get water flow around them, and it's going to be a good way to anchor this baby down in place. And I think what I might do is epoxy these two and then not epoxy this one, just dry fit it in, because it might be a little harder to get that one out of the tank. These two are kind of more in line, looking at it. So, and these two have the majority of the weight on them. Yeah. Okay. I'm really happy with that. That is going to look so good. I'm delighted. I'm really delighted how this is coming out. Oh, and I don't know if I showed everybody, but I kind of took this in. This was kind of flush cut off, and I went in with a chisel and just kind of took some chunks off of it and worried it around a little bit to make it look, you know, like it's not just like cut off with a saw, flush cut. So I know these legs look weird, but it's going to add some character. And, you know, the cool thing is that it's going to hold it down so the darn thing's not going to float upwards in its little positively buoyant trick.